You probably just got a new leopard gecko or is thinking about getting a new leopard gecko, and you might want to know how to care for it. This care guide will help you know everything you need to know about your new pet. Let's get right into this care guide. You might be wondering how to set up your leopard gecko enclosure or how big it is. Leopard geckos prefer smaller and darker enclosures. There are many different types of setups people use. Most breeders use tubs and most keepers use tanks. You can put an adult leopard gecko in a 40-gallon enclosure. You can also put them in a 20-gallon enclosure and they can thrive great in that size of a tank. With these reptiles, if you put them in a bigger enclosure, they are going to need more hides. If you have them in a 40-gallon tank, then you should put 3 to 4 hides, and one of them being a humidity hide. If you put your leopard gecko in a 20-gallon tank, then 2 to 3 hides are perfect. You can put a leopard gecko in tubs too. Most breeders put adult leopard geckos in a 14-quart tub, but I prefer bigger tubs. The tubs I use are 28-quart. With the 14-quart tubs, you can have 1 to 2 hides, and one of them being a humidity hide. With the 28-quart tubs, you need 2 hides, one of them being a humidity hide. With all these enclosures, you need a food bowl, water bowl, and if needed, a calcium bowl. If you notice your leopard gecko isn't eating or coming out, you might need to put them in a smaller enclosure, and if that doesn't help, bring your pet to the vet to see what's wrong with your Leo. The temperature and humidity that your leopard gecko needs. Your leopard geckos need heat to digest and humidity to help them with shedding and preventing them from respiratory problems. Your leopard geckos should have a cool side and a warm side. A leopard gecko's cool side should be 74 to 79 degrees Fahrenheit. The warm side should be 87 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. They need a hot temperature to help them digest food and prevent impaction. The humidity for a leopard gecko should be 30% to 50%. A great way to keep their humidity up is a humidity hide. You can use food containers or anything that a gecko can lay in and get the humidity. A great substrate for a humidity hide is a eco-earth or coconut fiber. You can also make your own mixture with eco-earth and vermiculite. The vermiculite will help improve drainage and moisture retention. This substrate is not as common to cause impaction in your leopard geckos. What type of heating and lighting does your leopard gecko need? For heating, you can use heat lamps, heat tape, heat mats, and room heaters. The best way to heat up your leopard gecko is under the tank heating. Great things to use for under the tank heating is heat tape or heat mats. It can help them digest better and is more natural for them. Heat lamps, if they have UVB, can help improve their immune system. Make sure to stay away from red UVB bulbs because the light is so dim that your gecko's pupils won't dilate and let the UVB go in the gecko's eyes, causing problems. Red bulbs also don't give enough heat. UVB lights can be sensitive to albino leopard gecko's eyes and skin. Leopard geckos do not need UVB lighting. UVB lighting is great for giving your leopard gecko vitamin D, which has proved to prevent leopard geckos from getting MBD. Room heaters can also be used for heating, but it would most likely be uncomfortable for a human to be in the same room when the room is 90 degrees. Leopard geckos need a day and nighttime cycle so they can know when they can sleep, walk around, and eat. Leopard geckos are crepuscular, which means they are active at dusk and dawn. For the day and nighttime cycle, you can turn a heat lamp off at night and have the heat mat on at night, or have the windows of your house reflect the sun and moonlight in. What to feed and supplement your leopard gecko. Leopard geckos are insectivores, meaning they only eat insects. Good insects to feed your leopard gecko are mealworms, crickets, dubia roaches, hornworms, calcium worms, waxworms, and superworms. Their main food should be mealworms, and for snacks, 2 to 3 times a week should be crickets, dubia roaches, hornworms, calcium worms, and waxworms, because it can make your leopard gecko gain too much weight and that can cause some health problems for your reptile. When supplementing your leopard gecko, you should use 3 scoops of ionate and 1 scoop of reptile calcium, and if you are not using UVB light, you can do calcium with D3. If you are using a UVB light, do not give your leopard gecko calcium with D3 because they are already getting it from the UVB, and that can cause an overdose for your gecko. If you do not supplement your leopard geckos, they can have a nutrition deficiencies or get MBD. You should have calcium bowl with only calcium so they can lick it up. If you notice your leopard gecko is getting armpit bubbles, take out the calcium bowl and only put calcium on the mealworms. Calcium and vitamins are important for breeder leopard geckos because they need the calcium to develop eggs. A good substrate to use for your leopard gecko. All reptiles need a substrate to maintain moisture and keep the cage clean. You need to know what substrate would be best for your leopard gecko. You can use eco-earth and coconut fiber. Try to stay away from sand or any loose substrate that can get stuck in your leopard gecko's digestive tract. Do not use calcium sand. Calcium sand encourages reptiles to lick up sand and cause impaction. You can also use paper towels or newspaper. Another substrate you should stay away from is reptile carpet. That harbors bacteria and also gets your leopard gecko's toes, nails, and tongue stuck on it. Leopard geckos have been known for losing their toes on reptile carpet. Newspaper also harbors bacteria, so you must clean it frequently. Paper towels are great substrate for baby leopard geckos because it cannot impact the leopard gecko, and it's also clean if you replace the paper towels frequently. Cohabitation. You might already have a leopard gecko and think about getting another one so your leopard gecko can have a friend. You should not put leopard geckos together, especially the males. There has been studies where you can put 4 ovulating females in the same enclosure and put 1 male in. That is called group breeding, and it works great. If you notice any aggression, then remove the aggressive gecko. You can also put hatchlings together and have them stay in the same enclosure up to 4 months old. Sometimes they might bully each other, and if you know any aggression, then remove one of them and put them in their own enclosures. Some leopard geckos that were raised together are less aggressive to other leopard geckos. If you have a couple male leopard geckos together, they can attack each other, and more leopard geckos with prolapse hemipenes are caused by being in the same enclosure with another male. It is best to stay away from cohabbing your geckos because there is a risk of injury or death to one of your Leos. Handling. Once you get your leopard gecko, you might want to hold it. The best thing to do is let your leopard gecko settle in its new home for 1 to 2 weeks. Your leopard gecko might be stressed and bite you. Once the leopard gecko is not stressed, you can put your hand in front of the leopard gecko and have it walk onto your hand. You can also pick up your leopard gecko gently by the waist. If you are experienced, you can gently pick up your leopard gecko at the base of the tail and put it into your hand. If you put too much pressure on the tail, they can drop their tails. A good weight and size for your leopard gecko. You may want to know if your leopard gecko is a healthy weight and size. Knowing your leopard gecko weight and size can let you know if it is healthy or ready for breeding. A healthy female leopard gecko should be 7 to 8 inches long and weigh 45 to 70 grams. An adult male leopard gecko should be 8 to 11 inches and weigh 50 to 80 grams. A good weight to breed your female leopard geckos is 45 to 50 grams, and your male should be 50 to 55 grams. Breeding. You might want to start having cute little baby leopard geckos and want to know how to breed them. A good weight to breed your females are 45 to 50 grams, and your male should be 50 to 55 grams. Males start to hit sexual maturity by 6 to 8 months old, and females reach it at 8 to 12 months old. You can tell if your leopard gecko is a male or female by looking at its pores. A male will have visible femoral pores and a bulge, and females will not have femoral pores or a bulge. To breed your leopard gecko, she must be ovulating. To tell if your leopard gecko is ovulating by looking under its belly and seeing pinkish dots. You should put the male in the female's enclosure and watch them. If you notice aggression, take the male out for 24 hours and keep trying. This might take a while, but eventually they will breed. If that doesn't work, try putting the female in the male's enclosure or try breeding her with another male. Once the breeding begins, the male will shake his tail very fast and start biting her tail all the way up her body. He will grab the female's neck and put his tail above hers and begin to mate with her. When they are done breeding, give them about 2 minutes so the male can put his hemipenes back in. When he's done, put him back in his enclosure and prepare for the eggs. Give her a lay box and feed her calcium with D3. When she lays her eggs, put them in a 12-ounce deli cup and fill it up with vermiculite up to 1 inch. Weigh the container and whatever it weighs, spray it until it weighs the same amount. Put the container in the incubator and set whatever temperature you want your eggs to be. If you want females, put the temperature at 80 to 83 degrees Fahrenheit. If you want Males, incubate them 87 to 89 degrees Fahrenheit. If you want to mix, put them in the temperature at 84 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. It will take about 60 days for these eggs to hatch. Leopard geckos do make a great pet, but before getting any reptile, make sure to do your research so you know how to take good care of your reptile. Try not to take any advice from pet stores, since sometimes they give you bad advice. Thank you guys for watching this care guide, and good luck on your leopard gecko. Peace.